So the episode starts off with Angel Dust tied up and threatened by someone, only to turn out to be a porn movie that he stars in during a show and tell presentation. But of course everybody feels uncomfortable except for Nifty. Husk sees it as a performance for Angel Dust to hide his true self. He even points out everyone's flaws, but for Nifty, well, he'd rather not say, and he calls Angel Dust a fake. Angel Dust was talking back at him until he got a call from his boss and told him to come into work. Charlie doesn't want him to leave, but Angel Dust has no choice. Charlie isn't sure what to do, but Baggy gave her advice about using her authorities as the Princess of Hell. That's a good advice. Why can't Charlie use her powers and authority to command the overlords to her bidding?
But that's so mean.
Girl, your people are dying from killer angels and your hotel isn't doing so well. I think it's about time you stepped up the game. And because of her kind nature and not taking any chances, her own people just walk all over her. They're more afraid of the overlords who are in a lower rank than she is in the hierarchy, which makes me feel embarrassed for her. Charlie takes Baggy's advice and went to talk to Valentino, but Angel Dust saw her and tries to get her to leave before Val saw her, but it's too late. Val offers her a role in his work, but she refuses, but he allows her to stay. But she keeps distracting the crew members about her hotel, and things start to go haywire, which upsets Val and takes it out on Angel and reminds him of his contract. Charlie didn't like how Val was treating Angel and wants to teach him a lesson, but Angel stops her and told her to leave for good. Once Charlie left, Angel ends up getting his own song. And hell, this is the best song I heard so far. The other songs from the last two episodes are mediocre or just okay, but this hit the beat, and the visuals seem more like a music video. This also supposed to represent a toxic relationship that Angel's going through with Valentino. This song is meant to be a tragic song according to the lyrics, but the rhythm seemed to have more of a pop culture to it, and it turns out to be one of the most popular songs that's mostly played on YouTube, and one of my personal favorites. So after that hit music video and sad tragic story, Angel Dust goes back to the hotel and asks Husk for a hard drink as he's trying to forget what happened. But Husk isn't buying his fake persona and calls him out for it after Angel Dust tried to seduce him but gets pushed away. Angel Dust started to have a breakdown, putting up an act of being worthy. Charlie sees Angel storm off and blames herself. Baggy wants Husk to go after him, but Charlie doesn't want to force him back, but he wants Husk to look after him. Husk follows him into a club and notices somebody spike Angel's drink, and so he gets him out of there. The two had a little fallout at first, but then they both open up to each other. Angel Dust is trying to break himself so he wouldn't be Val's favorite toy anymore, believing that he'll let him go. Yeah, I think Val would rather kill him, considering the type of guy he is. As for Husk, we learned that he used to be an overlord who was addicted to gambling, but ends up selling his soul to Alistair. He starts to sing a song with Angel, and this is another good song, but not as good as Poison. But it does have a message saying being a loser isn't so bad, and both of them did screw up in their lives by selling their souls. They both head back to the hotel and Charlie apologizes to Angel and she was forgiven. Now I know people ship Husk and Angel Dust together, whether it's canon or not, but I'm not so sure. I mean, they could be a fine couple, but I see them more as drinking buddies. But if this ship happens, it happens. I'm not gonna judge. You can see me on the supportive side of the shipping. But for what I learned from this episode is that these two do have some chemistry. They both fucked up in their lives and have to deal with the consequences of their decision. So my final thoughts on this episode? Well, I want to say that there's gotta be rules of boundary, because Angel Dust keeps flirting and sexually harassing Husk since episode 1, and it's not a good thing. But hopefully Angel will respect his privacy and backs off a little, because to be honest, I felt a little uncomfortable with those scenes. But this episode also made me feel terrified for Angel because of his relationship with his boss. Not only that, but he's treated like a sex slave than an employee because of the contract he signed, and this seemed more realistic than fictional. Even though it is fictional, the scene with Angel Dust makes it hard not to take it so seriously because it might affect the people that actually gone through this shit. This episode did flush Angel's character out more and gives us the reason why he's acting like a flirt to everyone. Personally, I think Angel has the most characteristic in the show, and he and Husk end up being the most popular pairing.